Megan Hicks of I Run Far, and we're here on the Atlantic Ocean, the edge of the island of La Palma, in Spain's Canary Islands, just before the 2015 Transvulcania Ultramarathon. I'm with American Zach Miller. Good morning, Zach.
Good morning, Megan. It's good to be here.
I feel like I'm in the presence of, I don't know if I should say the word greatness or what. I mean, like, it's quite a getup you have right now. Can you tell me about your outfit?
Oh yeah, this is my ultra casual uniform, brought to you by Nike. No, Brian wore his button-down Patagonia shirt and his hat.
His
and
safari
everything.
hat?
Yeah, at that race in Hong Kong, I think.
Yeah.
And I was cracking up at home. I was like, oh, Brian, I hope my Nike kit's as cool as yours this year. So this isn't the official team kit, but Brian said he wanted to see ultra casual, so since I can't bring it Saturday, I figured I'd break it out today. And
so you have your Nike golf shirt, and then there's this accessory.
This is my this is my Lego bow tie.
And did you build that yourself?
Well, I didn't. Well, it fell apart a couple times on the trip, so yeah, I put it back together. But they gave it to me at work the other day. Yeah, I was at a big training day for work, and they gave us all bow ties. So I was like, I'll wear this for my interview.
And I mean, there's even more. You viewers may not be able to see it, but Zach is indeed sporting also the Ultra Mini Mullet.
Oh
yeah, it's, you know, business in the front, all racing business, and then party in the back. So.
Yeah, it was a full-on mullet when we were doing it, and I didn't plan. The plan was I saw that the day after the race is Mother's Day. And my hair was like really long. Well, it was like this long as this rat tail is. And I was like, well, my mom's favorite haircut on me is a buzz cut, so I was like, I'll buzz it. But that turned into me sitting in Neil and Amy McDonough's kitchen with all my friends. And that turned into a session of a mullet and like maybe an Amish bowl cut and a fryer cut and taking pictures. And they managed to leave me with this rat tail, and I was like, guys, I can't do it. It's hideous. But Neil said he lives vicariously through me now, so he said I had to keep it. So somehow it made it all the way to Transvulcania, and it'll stay for the race.
And you know, if you have a really great race this weekend, you'll become powerful and famous on the island of La Palma, and you will become known for your mini mullet. So
yeah,
I mean, you might have to keep it if you have a good race.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know how that'll pan out. I'm more comfortable with it here than in the States, but yeah, I don't know.
Because it's stylistically similar to Spain, or because you're an anonymous person?
I think just because, yeah, I'm an anonymous person over here. Like, just like, oh, that's some crazy American. So, yeah, I'm just more comfortable. In the States, I feel like I know what the social norms are, and this isn't it. So I feel very self-conscious.
Well, yeah, you've put together a whole package that really deviates from social norms, but I mean, it could be on the very edge of ultra hipster.
Yeah, maybe ultra hipster. Yeah, we could start something new.
I guess we should probably talk about a race. We're here for a race.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it is a couple days before the Transvulcania Ultramarathon. This is your first ultra of 2015. The last time we saw you race an ultra was at the beginning of December at the North Face Endurance Challenge 50 miles. What have you been doing since then?
Hiding.
In hiding.
No, I was saying I enjoy the training blocks. I enjoy disappearing for a while and just kind of doing my thing and focusing. That's what I used to do when I worked on the cruise ship, because I didn't really have a choice. I would run a race, and then I would disappear for like 3 months, and I would just train. So I kind of decided to go back to that method. Okay. And the end of last year, I made some choices, and every choice is valuable because you learn something from it. Whether it turns out well or not, you still learn. So, but last year got a little more crammed than I wanted to. I raced a little more in the ultras than I would have preferred. And I learned something in that, but this year I tried to set up a pretty smart schedule. So, yeah, I took some time off after North Face, to recover mentally and physically, and you know, ease back into the training, and then yeah, just kind of hit it hard for the, you know, last couple months, and looking forward to kicking things off on Saturday. First race, haven't done anything since North Face, not even a 5K. So
awesome. Super fresh.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes.
Now, when I look back at your 2014 from sort of an outside perspective looking in, it looked like you started the year off with a bang, ultra-wise, and then it was like a long taper out towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
You did great stuff in shorter distances, but your ultra performances, I mean, they were always strong, but they weren't on par with some of your first ultras. Is that kind of how it felt to you, too?
Yeah, yeah, I was reading your preview for the race, and I was like, yeah, I pretty much agree with that. That's pretty much describes it.
Oh, thanks. You don't hate me too much?
Oh, no, not at all, not at all. I mean, you can say whatever you want. I'll take the punches and just roll on. But yeah, like, Sonoma started off with a bang. I mean, I wasn't even really going to run Sonoma, and then our Nike manager, Pat, was like, well, what about Sonoma? And I kind of jumped in, and, you know, you kind of have that, like, oh, am I trained enough? And, you know, they always say it's better to be undertrained than overtrained. And Sonoma went great. And then I trained really hard. I started running well in shorter mountain stuff, like you said. Had some really good races, actually. And then went out to Templier, and I was actually very proud of Templier. Like, I finished that race, and I was pretty proud. I mean, I was leading till about 5K to go. You know, I was off the front pretty much all day. I was having a blast, and I bonked unbelievably hard with like 5K left.
It was epic.
Yeah, I mean, it
was the stuff of bonking textbooks.
Yeah, like it was an awesome experience. I mean, it was miserable, but like the people of France were great. They loved it. They supported me all the way in. I thought I ran the finish, and I watched the video at the end, and I was not running. I thought in my mind I was running, but I was walking. So yeah, no, I was actually really proud of that though, because like I got out there, I went for it, I laid it out there, I learned an important lesson in nutrition and hydration that I can apply in the future. And that was actually, I thought, like a good day. It just faded from first to fifth in the last like 3 miles. Yeah. So, and then I had a pretty quick turnaround to World 100K Road Championships, and I felt pretty good there, but I didn't necessarily feel on. I had some stomach issues, which are all part of the game. Like, that's, you know, that's part of the game as much as doing the running is. If you can't get that right, you know, that's on you. So, you know, that was, probably learned some lessons there with, you know, international travel and pre-race fueling and mid-race fueling, and fueling for a race where you're running like 6:30
really
the whole time. Yeah, so like that's a little different too. So that was a solid performance, but I didn't knock that out of the park. And then the outlier was North Face. For whatever reason, decided I wanted to gamble and run 2 weeks after a road 100K. Yeah. And, you know, I gave it my all. You know, I was going to go hard. I was going to try and, you know, run with the leaders and everything. But my body was tired. Yeah. You know, my mind was probably tired. And I had a fun time, but it wasn't, the legs weren't there that day at all.
Well, let me ask you for a little bit of perspective, reflecting back especially on your Templier run, because, I mean, some of the conditions that you're going to find there, or that you found there, you're going to find here, and that there's going to be, like, this course is real difficult, and there's, I mean, it gets really hard at the end, you know? So, given what you learned at Les Templiers, how are you going to do things different so that you're there, you know, that if you're there, in the end, you stay there? Yeah.
Well, for one, I have an emergency stash of caffeine for this race. I'm not a big caffeine person. I actually kind of have this somewhat goal of one day completing an entire ultra with no caffeine.
Okay.
I want to get through a race without caffeine, but I don't know when my body's going to be able to do that. So for this race, caffeine isn't really in the nutrition plan except as an emergency. So I will keep. I went to CRC the other day and bought a whole bunch of highly caffeinated gels, and I'll stuff those in my pack for emergencies. So that's one way that I'm tackling it. Two is just making it a point throughout the day to really keep eating and drinking. I think at Transvulcania I was really in the moment. I was feeling good. I was really trying to hammer, and I think I just kind of quit eating and drinking, especially towards the end, and knowing how much energy you burn through with like steep climbs at the end, which we're gonna have some climbing at the end here, and we're gonna have some technical descending. So just trying to keep those calories pumping. And yeah, will it change in terms of pacing and things? Will it change my strategy? I don't know. I'm gonna find out when the gun goes off, I guess. But I think trying to listen to my body, figure out like, you know, what I can push to and what's sustainable. And sometimes I don't know what's sustainable. You know,
you have to try it to see if it is.
Yeah, I just try it to, you know, and then you find out. So.
Well, be honest with me for a second, because you just said like, how will it play out strategy-wise? I don't know, but it seems like from what we've seen of you and your racing so far, like you like to be the rabbit, you like to be the pace setter. Like, can you really resist that temptation? Can you really do anything different?
That's hard for me to resist. Like, okay. I'll be honest. Like in college, in high school, I wasn't the fastest guy, so it was like, well, you're not the fastest guy, so just like, you know. There were people to run against, there were people to pace off of and stuff like that. But with ultras, it's like this whole new world, and I feel like one thing I love about the sport is I feel like we don't really know how fast it could be. Like this race is what, like the 6th year of it? Like nobody knows how fast this horse could go.
Yeah.
Like we know what Killian did a couple of years ago, but nobody knows how fast this could actually go.
Yeah.
You know, so I love the fact that somebody could just go for it, and you know, maybe they'll get it, you know, and maybe they won't, but you know, it's hard for me to resist. I mean, basically my approach to ultras is to give my absolute best, you know, just to test my, I think a lot of your ultra runners will say we run ultras to test our limits and to test, you know, our mental capacity and everything, and I think that should hold true for the guys at the front as well. You could sit back and run conservative, but I just love that mentality of as hard as I can go, as long as I can go, and so it's hard for me to, you know, resist that.
So chances are, if you're feeling decent off the start line,
I mean,
we're gonna see you pushing it pretty straight away.
Yeah, I mean, that's also something I kind of play with in my mind, because like people look at my like Sonoma race and they say, oh, he was so like. Just went for it, like he was so gutsy, and like, yes, but like I close to the airport. In a sense, yes, but in a sense, I look back at Sonoma and I say, no, I don't think I ran like as crazy as people thought, because I paid attention to my body that day, and I like, did I run aggressive? Maybe, but I just kind of ended up in the lead and listened to my body and was like, well, this is what feels right, and I just went with it, and that's what worked. And maybe a similar approach for Saturday. You know, my goal in training is to get yourself so fit, you know, and so strong that, you know, you go out there and you're prepped, you know, for that type of performance, you know. So maybe you're not running out of your mind. You're maybe running out of somebody else's mind. Yep. But with you, you're actually, there is some sense of control.
Yeah.
But maybe some flirting with uncontrolled,
with the over the edge, just to see what's out there.
It's fun to play with that line.
Yeah. Well, last question for you. Rumors are coming off the front range and within your running community that you're pretty sharp right now. So taking into account like what you've done with your training so far this year, how you're feeling fitness-wise, and what you know about this course, it's a pretty unique course. It's, you know, a couple dozen kilometers of climbing, and then you stay high. There's some runnable stuff, there's some super technical stuff up high, and then this massive descent, like Ks and Ks and Ks of descending, plus a really difficult uphill grind to the finish. Like, where is this course gonna play into your strengths, with where your fitness is right now? Where is it gonna play into your weaknesses?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think in terms of weaknesses, the technical nature. I'm still getting better with time on technical terrain. You know, I admit I get nervous on like loose rocks and things, just because like ankles turning and whatnot. But I think I've been improving on technical terrain. I think I've been getting better at, I've worked this training block on steep descending, and steep climbing. I think climbing has generally been a fairly good strength. There's definitely guys like, you know, I ran at World Mountain Running Championships last year. There's definitely guys who climb faster than I do. But I think generally, especially in an ultra distance, I'm a decent climber. So I think the climb should be pretty good for me. The altitude, we go up to like 8,000 feet, and that's pretty everyday for me.
Normal for you?
Yeah, so I think that should be good. That's another strength. And then, I mean, the descending I think I've been getting better at, but it's gonna, I think the technical factor is gonna come big in there. But, you know, I've spent, you know, a lot of time on the Manitou Incline, this training block, and a lot of time, you know, or a decent bit of time, you know, down Rampart Range Road and down Longs Ranch Road and, you know, down the Bar Trail, you know, just, you know, running downhill. So, you know, and even some downhill on the incline a little bit. So, yeah, I feel good going in. And I don't know, I feel like I have a little extra motivation too this time around. My dad had some health issues this winter. He had like a aortic dissection with his heart. So that's in the back of my mind. He's due for surgery on Thursday to get a stent, you know, to help improve things. You know, and he's doing all right, but I think that's been really hard for my dad. And you know, so I think the goal Saturday is, you know, this race is for my dad, and just to run with my whole heart. I mean, he told me to get on the podium for him, but he also said just to do my best, and that he'd know I'd do that. And doing your best is kind of a scary thing, because for me that pretty much means it's gonna hurt. It's gonna really hurt. But I think I'm up for it. You know, give it my level best and run with all my heart. You know, for my dad, since he can't really be out here running.
That's awesome. We're thinking of you, Mr. Miller.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, best of luck to you out there on Saturday.
All right.
We look forward to seeing you tearing up the uphills and hopefully the downhills too.
Yeah, hopefully the whole thing.
Okay, good luck, Zach.
All right, thank you.